expressions of someone else, speak up and let them know how you feel. Walk away. Sometimes saying nothing and walking away is also a good way to say, I'm above racism and there is no room in my life for it. Tell someone. Sometimes your friends and family can be your best support group. If you're being discriminated on social media, report it. Many social media sites have no tolerance for bullying or racism. Facebook and Instagram allow you to report content that breaches its terms of use. You can also make a formal complaint if you're experiencing any type of racism or prejudice. In 2012, a New York City MTA passenger contacted 311 to report racist ads on the subway. This is just one of the many platforms you can use to report racism.
Good morning. I'm going to ask you to turn your radio down.
Want to get involved? Go into itstopswithme.humanrights.gov for information on how you can help stop racism. And for help and support on dealing with racism, visit antihate.vic.gov and Anti-Racist Alliance for resources. Remember, racism isn't the norm. Don't make room for it.
Good morning. We're waiting to hear from Jackie Rowe Adams. Think she tried to call in. If you're calling in, you must turn your radio down because you'll get feedback. You won't really hear me. So we want to talk with you. And so we want you to know our telephone number to call in. It's 212-650-6903. And I see we have a caller calling in. Good morning. Welcome to Street Corner Resources Live.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Am I speaking with Jackie?
You're speaking with Jackie Rowe Adams.
How are you, Jackie? Good to hear you.
Oh, I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
But I know after our conversation last night, from our conversation last night, that you're upset. Of course, I'm saddened by the shooting of the two officers. Really sad. Mm-hmm. It's been more than two, actually, because last night I informed you that there was an officer in Florida whose life was taken. We don't know all the circumstances around that particular shooting, nor do we really know all the circumstances around the shooting of these two officers. But what we do know is that they both have lost life. One was a family man, am I correct?
Absolutely.
And the other had come into the department not that long ago, and that they were just sitting in their car. That's what we understand thus far. And the shooter came from Baltimore, had shot his girlfriend in the stomach, and took a Bolt bus here and went straight to Bed-Stuy, from what we understand, and shot the two officers in the car and said that on Facebook that he would give, I saw the Facebook chat that rant that he had done, that he was going to give pigs wings today. And I just want to again reiterate that in no way do we support or condone bringing hurt or harm or violence to anyone, and especially police officers at this time that we've been protesting for justice for Eric Garner and Michael Brown and those who died at the hands of the police. It doesn't mean that every police officer is wrong, and it does not mean that police officers should lose life while we're calling for justice. So I just want to make that clear, and that the Eric Brown and Garner family has nothing whatsoever to do with this violent behavior. There was no call for violence at all from either family. So with that, just want to open up to you, Jackie, and let folks know that you are the executive director, founder of Harlem Mother Saved, and your organization. I'm going to let you talk a little bit about that, and then what's going on today that we're going to all be joining in with. Okay? So
yes.
I'm going to let you have the mic.
First, thank you so much for having me on. And you're absolutely right. Absolutely, we are not going to tolerate these violent acts. And Harlem Mother Save is an organization of mothers and fathers who've lost kids to gun violence. As you know, first we started off with 5 mothers. Now we have 50-plus mothers and fathers citywide, and that's sad. But I'm glad that we have that because some people do not know where to go for support, and we're a support group. And now we're growing every day.
Exactly. But that's not a growth that you want to have, right?
That's right. You do not want to be in our club at all. And every day we're growing. And as you said, as you opened up, nobody want to see a life taken. And we should not live in pain like we are living. And we must stop this violence, Aisha. And we just finished with so many protests against the shootings of the
two young men,
people in the community, Brown family,
and mainly the protests have been around the shootings, but also the fact that there were no indictments. And I like to keep that real clear.
Absolutely. So we just finished protesting, and we almost got to a point
where we see some change coming.
It was respect to send the message. You cannot, whether you're police or civilian, should not be able to get away with murder. And that message was sent out there strong. And now we turn around, and 2 cops are now dead. The families are hurting. And we today, we Harlem Mother Save, and Street Corner Resources, and many other leaders and community people are calling for peace. We need peace in our community. We need peace in the universe. And we really want this violence to stop. And we want to raise up prayers for the Officer Lou family and Officer Ramos family. And let their family know, Aisha, that they're not alone. They're not alone. And we must stop this violence. Because if we don't, it's going to be a war zone. And we don't want that.
And some are already saying, I'm looking at not one of my most favorite papers, but it's the New York Post, and I'm looking at War on Cops. That's one of, and that's been the language for actually leading up to this shooting. That language was beginning to become more pronounced, and I think that we have to be careful because words have power. They have the power to make people think in a certain way, the power to divide, the power to create a different kind of idea, either good or bad, the power to bring either good action or bad action. So we have to be careful with words, and I think that we have to call on our media to not use this situation to hype just to sell paper. War on Cops on at least, 1, 2, 3, 4 pages. It's saying War on Cops. No, more than that, 5, 6. So every page that you turn at the top, that's what it's saying. And that's not the truth.
That is what I was going to say. The media must start redirecting their conversation. I know they want to sell papers, but it's time to call for peace.
Exactly.
Instead of putting the headlines, war. We need peace. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with us. And this is what they need to be saying. And I know we can't tell them what to say, but right about now, we have to all begin to heal. And that's why tonight at 306 West 128th Street, between St. Nicholas and 8th Avenue, we the Harlem community and Harlem Mother Save, Street Corner Resources, so many others, elected officials, and police. We are going to be out praying for peace at 6 o'clock. Just sending prayers up for not only the Detective Lou family and Detective Ramos family, but for all the families that are hurting of a loss.
Of a loss, whether it's of a child.
That's right.
Of
a loss.
A loved one.
And
this
that's
is
one
a
of the
really
things we're going to do.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to it. I will definitely be present. I'll bring some young people, and we'll be present, and we will let people know that we're standing together in this call for peace and this vigil.
And we got to begin to talk, as you always do, to these young people and let them know, if you're doing something wrong, stop it. If you're doing something wrong, stop it. And because now we're in a very crucial, sensitive time right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know that you're committing a crime or doing something illegal, stop it.
Exactly.
And I feel that the police should say that to their colleagues. If they know that it's bad police, and if they know that they're good police, and it's their friend, say, listen, stop it, because you're making it bad for us too. So that goes both ways, and we have to do a lot of talking in our community to each other.
Mm-hmm.
We really do, because we have to save our children. We really do. And right now it's very sensitive. So hopefully, Aisha, everybody come out. I know it's last second, but
that's okay. We've done
march in Brooklyn.
We've done a lot in a spontaneous way to react to things that we didn't expect happen. We didn't think that there would be loss of life by 2 police officers right here in New York City, one in Florida, and I understand that there may be another officer who lost life. We did not know that. That was not in what our thinking was. So the response to have a vigil and to call for peace, it can't be anything but last minute, last second.
That's right.
So we're calling for the community to come out and stand in solidarity as we call for peace in our community. Because what happens, Jackie, that I'm worried about is that sometimes you get people who become copycat. I'm hearing
my concern.
Yeah, I'm hearing language on Facebook that people who are, I posted that I was saddened by the loss of these 2 officers. I look at these young men; these could be anyone that's in our community. And I'll just tell you, there's a young man on 125th Street. He works in a shoe store, and I've been walking with him through his paperwork. I pushed him to become a police officer, to start the process, right? The way you make change, you get in, you make change. You be a different kind of officer than what you encountered. That's what I tell him. And so he's almost finished the process. Almost finished. I took Detective Collado and Lieutenant Morales. I think Morales is a lieutenant, not the one at the 2-8, but the one that was moved to the Bronx. I took them over to talk with him, to give both Hispanic. This young man is Hispanic as well. And they encouraged him about the academy and, what to expect and all of this. So this could be the young people. This could have been the young person, the same young person that I'm encouraging. This could be someone that we know in the community that has been policing in our community and doing great work.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of these officers.
Absolutely.
I've watched officers grow in rank,
It's somebody's child. It's somebody's child. It's somebody's
and
father,
it's just not right to
brother.
take a life in that. It's just not right. And so we together, Jackie, I'm looking forward to us calling for peace and calm in our community, and that people speak peace forward, and that we're going to gather over at your place, Harlem Mother Save, this evening at 6. Give people the address again, Jackie.
306 West 128th Street, between 8th and St. Nicholas. And it's at 6 o'clock, and we want people to come out on time. We probably had just spent an hour and a half, and just to send up prayers and let the families and all other families know that we are sick and tired of these violent acts. And so hopefully everyone come out and we start making a difference and standing together.
And you know,
serious.
and going forward, you know, because a lot of times people say, well, you know, you guys have all these vigils and sit-ins and stand-ins and lay-downs and, you know, all of this.
And we need them.
We do, because it keeps attention on the issue. And that's what people have to understand, that vigils give a place for people to come together, to pray together, to have a common cause, and then to push forward with a common goal. And our common goal is to have peace in our community. I wouldn't want the officers that I know I wouldn't want to get a phone call to hear that they've been shot senselessly for no reason. It's not even the line of duty. It was they were just sitting. They left their families thinking that they would go home at the end of the day. I wouldn't want a call that activists like you and I, that something happened to one of us just because we're doing the work that we do. So we want balance in our community. We want peace.
And you know, Aisha, when I heard it, the first thing came to me is, wow, I wish that Harlem Mother Saved, that we could go and give that family a hug. So tonight, our hug would be sending prayers up to them for peace and the hurt pain that they're enduring. And I hope everyone they feel doing the same thing and feeling the same way. And you know what's sad, because media, they don't want to jump to the positiveness. They want to jump to the negativity. So hopefully we get media out tonight to send that message and keep the message out there that we are calling for peace.
Exactly.
And I'm glad that you are taking this on, and like you do every issue, and letting the world, let the people hear, let the community hear that someone cares. We care.
And we do, you know, and I think that, you know, this is not about whether or not, you know, people are, you know, close to police officers or not. This is not about that. This is human life. This is human life. And it is just not right. It is unfair. And it does not, the bottom line is that there is no benefit in doing this. If people want to do the work that we need folk who want to help write policy. You want to see something change? You want something different? Then you get with a group that is helping to make change. NAACP, National Action Network. I mean, all of these groups, these justice groups, get with a group that is making change and get in where you can fit in. I don't tell anybody exactly where to go. You got to be in this one. You got to be. That's not me. Get in where you feel comfortable. Sometimes you have to move around a little bit. But get in a place and begin to do the work to bring about the kind of change that you say you want to see. But taking someone's life is not going to make things change. It's just not. What it's going to do is create a bloodbath, a slaughter, anger. You know, it's just going to be ugly. And we don't want that in our community. We don't get to anything better.
And let them go to the polls. You got to go to take your anger out on the polls and go vote.
That's right. We have to look at who are we putting in office.
That's right.
That's right. Either carrying our policies forward or not. And we know that if we look at these candidates, and what I tell folk, and you know, and this has been my thinking, you know, and I'm thinking about a few things. I won't put them all out on the air. But if I don't like the way that people are carrying out the politics, then sometimes you got to get into politics. You know what I mean? And sometimes you got to get in it. So I say to folks who are listening, learn as much as you can about the way that our government works in our city. That's the first thing. Most folk don't understand how government works, who's elected, who's nominated, how do people become commissioner, how do you become the mayor, and find out, you know, what your place could be even in that. And so we got work to do. I'm really looking forward to us coming together this evening at 6 o'clock. And give us that street again, Jackie.
306 West 128th Street, St. Nicholas and 8th Avenue. And it's rain or shine, because if it rains, we'll go inside and we'll pile up inside. And long as we lift those prayers for peace and let the world hear us. And again, I'm looking forward to Street Corner Resources.
We'll be in the house, the I Am Peace movement. We will be there.
Sample and L.T. Reverend Vernon Williams, LT, come out, and we all be out there together. Akil Rose should come out. These are organizations that's on the ground.
Yeah, I'll make sure that I get in touch with that's right. And we don't just talk about it. We're about it.
We're about it. And that's what we have to keep airtight and let people know we all stand together. One person, one group, do not do this alone.
No, absolutely
all of
not.
Us together. And just like other boroughs, we join other boroughs too. And we want Manhattan to know that we have to come together on this let's stop the violence and let there be peace.
And let's stop the violence everywhere against all people.
That's right.
You know,
all people.
Because
violence.
It's not working for our community.
Gun control have to get stronger. These illegal guns, Aisha, must stop. We must stop this flow of illegal guns. I know it's not going to all stop, but we have to get a better handle because there's too many illegal guns out here. And
no,
the kids
absolutely.
are getting their hands on them. The young people are getting these guns and just... Now, who would think that they was on the bus with a murderer, a killer?
Absolutely. Just think. Not just the bus. The bus, he got on the bus, right, somewhere in Baltimore, and was on the highway on the bus. So, and you know how they stop at the rest stop. Anything could have happened. So we're talking about, the possibility of violence, in a number of places.
Yes.
So one of the things that we have to think about is how do guns... he was on the bus with a gun. And, I always have an issue with the $20 bus. I'm sorry. And I do mean to throw up a flag because they say that guns go up the iron pipeline on those buses. That's the understanding. I'm just putting it out there. This is not a secret.
Put it out there. Put it out there.
You understand? They're busy.
We can't hold nothing anymore.
Yeah, I know that they were, looking to see whether or not drugs were coming on those buses, but the understanding is, the talk is, it's been this way, that guns often travel on that bus. And it was a clear sign. He got on the bus with a gun. You understand? And so we have to be more vigilant about, finding ways to keep guns from coming up the iron pipeline. That's I-95 that runs straight from the south up.
Long time.
Yeah, this has been your challenge to the country. And of course, I joined that challenge. That one, we have to get universal background checks. We have to keep a strong eye and hand on I-95, and of course, close the gun show loophole where people can go into gun shows and buy guns right there, almost without showing any ID. And we know that shows true because I can't think of his first name, but New Yorkers Against Gun Violence and the Brady campaign has proven this. They have a whole video where the guy goes in, I think it was Collins, and buys guns at a gun show.
Yes. From Taliban.
Yeah.
From Taliban.
Exactly. So we definitely want to stay on these issues. We don't want guns coming into our community to kill anyone. That's right. And I think the balance here is that on both sides, we're not, and I want it to be clear, I'm not advocating, and I don't want this to overshadow the issues around policies within NYPD, that we need to look at policies, we need to look at the issue of chokehold, we need to look at all of those things, but one right here is not the other. There should be no one being killed because people are angry about the deaths that have happened. It's ways to use your anger to be productive and to put forth new policies, to call for justice, to march, and to help make change in our cities. But taking the life of someone, an innocent person, is not the way to do that, and especially in the name of those that have been victims of police brutality or dying at the hands of the police. That's not a way to deal with this. And so I just like to keep that clear and up front. And as we call for justice this evening at 6 o'clock, not just justice, we call for peace.
Peace.
tonight. Yes, peace tonight and calm in our city and across the world. That we don't want folk to even think that that someone is supporting the idea of taking the life of an officer. So I want to say thank you, Jackie. Thank you for calling in. And again, we'll be at, give us the address.
306 West 128th Street, Harlem of the Save, office between St. Nicholas and 8th Avenue. Again, if it rains, we're inside. So please come out and let's just lift prayers. And I'm sure many other visuals take place, but we wanted to start it off tonight. And we want the world to know that we are sick and tired of all this violence, and that we want them to know that we support the family of Officer Lou and Officer Ramos and so many other families that are hurting today near the holiday. Very important.
Absolutely. Jackie, again, thank you. And, you're doing a great job with Harlem of the Save and just,
you are too.
Being out there, helping these mothers who have lost their young to gun violence. And we just have to continue the efforts. I hope that your numbers do not increase. And for those that would need to understand that, because no mother wants to become part of the ranks of losing those who have lost children, or fathers, those who have lost children to gun violence. So again, we appreciate the work. Keep up the good work. I'll see you this evening. We'll be in conversation throughout the day, as I'll be promoting on Facebook and Twitter for people to come out and join Harlem of the Save and Street Corner Resources and other organizations to call for peace. Okay?
Absolutely.
All righty. Peace and blessings. I'll see you this evening.
You too.
Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you.
All righty, we'll be right back. We want you to keep it locked right here. This is such a serious topic. We'll be talking with Ricky Jones from Unlocked. He's in studio with us. Glad to have him this morning. We're going to talk about some of the things that have happened over the weekend and where do we go and what's the mindset. So we'll be back. Our telephone number here is 212-650-6903. Peace and blessings.
Harlem has its own radio station.
For you and yours.
WHCR 90.3 FM.
The livest party in the whole universe.
The voice of Harlem.
Mother, there's too many of you crying. Brother, there's far too many of you dying. You know we've got to find a way to bring some loving here today. Yeah. Father, we don't need to escalate. You see, war is not the answer, for only love can conquer hate. You know we've got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Oh, picket lines and picket signs, don't punish me with brutality. Talk to me so you can see what's going on. What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? Oh, what's going on? Right on. Right on. Right on. bring some understanding here today. Oh, oh, oh. Pick it loud and pick it sound. Don't punish me with brutality. Come on, talk to me so you can see what's going on. Yeah, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. I'll tell you what's going on. Ooh. Right on, right on.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. You're listening to Street Corner Resources Live. Your host, Aisha Sekou. And pretty good holding me down with the sounds on the ones and twos, making sure that we have music. And in studio is our very own WHCR, Ricky Jones. He actually does a show, hosts a show on Wednesdays from 4 to 5, and that show is called Unlocked. And while we have him in studio, we thought that it would be no more than fitting to talk a little bit about Mr. Jones. You know, when we talk about what's going on, that's the question. What is going on? What's happening with this kind of rage that we're seeing with our young people? And what are some of the pieces that go into this anger that we're hearing about and on Facebook and Twitter, and even in the light of police officers losing their life senselessly?
Well, one of the things I like to just look at is how to separate what happened, or the tragedy that happened to the two police officers, from the protests. Because when you look at what happened to the two police officers here, according to the Wall Street Journal today, they talk about how this man has had a history of mental illness. He tried to kill himself last year. His mother said she was afraid of him. His two sisters have no real connection to him. And prior to coming to New York City, apparently he shot his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend and left her for dead, and he was on his way here. So we're not looking at a person who seems to be or was stable. And so when you see that happen, or that type of tragedy happen, you have to look at how that is not the type of mindset of our young people in New York City and around the country, because that is an isolated incident, and unfortunate as it may be, it is not the mindset of the young people. Because when you look at, as Alvin Toussaint says, that sometimes African-American men commit suicide a different way. And so you have people with these suicidal tendencies walking around the street looking for an opportunity to get killed, and prior to them killing or getting killed, they are looking to hurt someone else.
Wait a minute. I just want to make sure that we're clear. That folk with suicidal tendencies, mental imbalances, you're saying that they're looking to get killed. Tell me more about that.
Well, according to Alvin Toussaint, he looks at this tendency of, non-traditional ways of committing suicide that seems to be quite apparent with African Americans and people of color. Because by shooting out with an officer, or by walking or riding a bicycle or motorcycle with no helmet, unprotected sex, these are suicidal tendencies that we are not even conscious of, because they're so deep in the subconscious that they're acting out on it. And these are primitive thoughts, and these things are going unaddressed. Some of these young men were on medications prior to them being released from prison or mental institution. This man was hospitalized at one point in a mental institution. Right. And there's no tracking. See, that's why.
And that's what I'm concerned about, the fact that someone like him, with the kind of violent history that I'm understanding that he's had, is not tracked. Like, how do we know where these people are within our city? So they're acting out using the death of Eric Garner and Mike Brown as a reason to take the life of two innocent officers, you know. Yes. And this person is mentally ill, but also setting off a sense of anger in our city as well. So you have this person kind of having a domino effect around the city in a way that negatively impacts our city.
What also shows how the prison system is using the prison system as the new mental health facilities. And this man was in the system, and he apparently didn't receive any treatment. And upon release, that, like you said, there was no tracking system where to connect the dots, because he was very transit. He lived in Georgia, he lived in Baltimore, he lived in New York, and he never stayed in one place over like 2-3 months. So this type of transient, mentally ill person was, going around the country
doing damage in different places.
Yes.
Now, when you talk about, on your show, you talk a lot about the mental health of prisoners. You talk about the issues that are surrounding incarceration. Now, when we think about a person who is mentally ill, what kind of services, in our last few minutes, let's talk about what kind of services are rendered within the system, and then what is needed within the system to take care of a person like this gentleman. His name escapes me at this moment.
One of the things you have to realize, it costs $35,000 a year to house a person convicted of a crime in a regular prison facility. It costs over $100,000 a year to put a person in a mentally ill facility. So that type cost factor makes the prison industrial complex the new mental health facilities. And so they're taking shortcuts in order to save money, but they're risking lives by allowing the mentally ill to roam untreated in the city.
So here it says that Ismail is his name. Brinsley had 19 arrests, and 4 of the mugshots are pictured at left. So here we're looking in the paper. And, from 2005 between 2010, it appears that there were close to 19 arrests. Wouldn't that normally send a flag that something's wrong? We need to track this person. We need to have this person treated for mental illness?
Well, what normally happens, you got 24% of the inmate population in corrections who suffer from mental illness. Not a lot of them are voluntarily receiving treatment, because most of them, to a certain degree, came into the facilities with as MICA patients, mentally ill chemical abusers. And so here we're looking at this population now in denial that they have any thoughts, angers, or issues within their own mind and in their own background. So anytime you use that type of paradigm, say we're going to fix this with incarceration, we're going to fix this with, if he acts out, more solitary confinement, if we're going to fix this with giving him more time for acting out as opposed to the time he has, no one is trying to address the issues or underlying issues that this man is facing. And then we get to face him, or these 2 police officers faced him on the street.
So if someone has a person like this in their family, I'm reading in the paper that one of the headlines inside the paper, it says, New York City Ken knew violent drifter was time bomb. So if the family knew, what could they have done differently to get help and bring attention to some of the issues? You
can always reach out to any mental health hospital. And because sometimes it's better to reach out before an incident happens, especially when you hear certain language, when you see certain behaviorals that are symptomatic of mental illness. It's time to reach out and get this person to either voluntarily get involved in some type of help center or support group. Or I think the family sometimes needs to also reach out and say, we need help dealing with this person who's a part of our lives. So it's more than just the person trying to receive help. It's a family trying to understand that they cannot deal with this by themselves. So they are urged to look out and reach out to various other mental health facilities. Every theorist like Sigmund Freud, Karen Horney, and especially in New York City, has their own institute. The Hornine Institute, the Rational Emotive Therapy Institute, all of these places which take Medicaid and various other health insurances as payment, they are local and they are very, they're not as big as these big general hospitals that, can intimidate people. And people, especially people of color, we don't like to admit that we need help, especially with dealing with mental issues. We are always thinking that, I just have to tough it out. Everybody goes through these holiday blues, but it can be more than that, because prolonged depression is something that can turn into something clinical, as opposed to everybody every now and then feeling a little down. It's a difference between feeling down when allowing your emotions to send you to a sense of paralysis.
Okay, so one of the things that we know that folks can do is to get some mental health attention, and they can call at almost any hospital to ask for assistance. I know that folk are sometimes afraid to call the police when there's a mental health issue. So sometimes addressing that through calling the ambulance and asking for help from the hospital and getting that secured, will make it easier on the families. And what about staying in contact with mental health workers in the community?
Also, I'm saying, to piggyback on that, the family can reach out and ask the doctors at the hospital, look, help us understand what this my family member's going through. Help me understand schizophrenia. Help me understand a delusional mind. Because when they don't understand what the person's going through, they don't know how to respond. So they can get educated. There's a lot of information out there. Sometimes when you see a person in your home who's been diagnosed with some type of mental illness, you need to learn as much as you can about it.
Right, and then we know that we also have access to Google and things like that. Begin to Google information and know the signs. I know when I want to know about something, I go straight to Google, or I'll call people that I know that work in the field, or people who are connected to that field in some way, to begin to seek information about different things. And in this case, I think that, like you said, there's tons of information available. People have to be willing to access it so that we don't have the kind of tragedy that we've seen this weekend, and then later in the paper, a couple of days later, that the family said that they were afraid of this person, that he was violent, that they couldn't predict his behavior, and this probably could have been avoided. We want, at all costs, to avoid these kinds of tragedies. We want, just in closing, I want folk to know that with young people in the home, if you see that you have a young person or a person in your family taking on is becoming too stressful with what's happening around the world, with wars and some of the situations we've seen with Mike Brown and Eric Garner, with the loss of life there, and they're feeling pressure, that they can get help and that they don't have to act out in a violent kind of way. Yes, and our last points, is there anything that you wanted to say?
Well, I just like to say that I think the young people who are protesting peacefully should be encouraged to continually do so, and we need to start separating isolated incidents like we've seen or read about into yesterday's tragedy from the young people who are the majority in the protests around the country.
Absolutely. With that, I want to thank you, Mr. Ricky Jones, for being available. His show is Unlocked. You can catch him on the air on Wednesdays from 8 to 9, and although it'll be from 4 to 5. I'm from 8 to 9. I just wrote that. You can catch him this Wednesday coming up, even though it's Christmas Eve. He will be producing a show on that day. He'll be hosting. And, of course, Street Corner Resources will be in studio in that show to provide the resources. And, of course, here, I want to say thank you for being available to us at last minute. Keep it locked right here. WHCR 90.3 FM. Speak peace forward.
I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright sunshiny day. I think I can make it now. The pain is gone.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
Disappear.